What's good, y'all? We are out here in the garden and I am wearing a flannel, but it is not Farm Friday. We are cooking with FoodWhat. My name is David and I am running around gathering some fresh things to put in our meal. I like to do that before every time I cook. It's part of my cooking routine. Routines is the word of the day. Let's see where that takes us. So oh, check this out. That's a coyote, yo. Another day on the farm. So, one of the best meals of the day, my personal favorite, breakfast. Now, talk about routines. Routines are one of the best things you can do to build a healthy lifestyle. And it makes sense then that one of our basic needs, food, would be something that we build a routine for. You know what I mean? So, getting into the habit of knowing which meals you like to cook, which meals are easy, which meals you could take on the go, which meals you can make a lot of, which meals you can make in the morning that you like to eat for breakfast versus lunch versus dessert. All of those things are something that you can make a plan for. Getting into good routine and making a, whoa. Bunch of quail. Another day at the farm. That's a meal that's good to plan ahead for. That way when you wake up, it's good to go. You already know what you're gonna do. You don't have to think that much. And you can just start your morning off nice and slow. Let's jump back into the kitchen and see what we gathered, see what we have to cook with today, and get our breakfast routine going. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We got some oregano, some lemon thyme, some thyme flowers, some borage flowers, some cilantro, some rosemary, nasturtium flowers, some fennel greens, some sage, and some wild strawberries. Boom, chopped it up. This will go fresh as the garnish. This is our herb mix that we will put in as we're cooking. All right, so one of my favorite routine foods, particularly for breakfast. We're making omelets. Eating our rainbow. All right, veggies are chopped. That's pretty. We got onions over here to start with. Then we got some green onions, some red bell peppers, some yellow bell peppers, and some mushrooms. Now, let's talk about mushrooms real quick. All right, look at this. This is a mushroom. Mushrooms are very special organisms. There's all kinds of things that mushrooms can do. A portobello mushroom has more potassium than a banana. Some mushrooms glow in the dark. Mushrooms are considered the meat of the vegetable world. The most beautiful thing about mushrooms, in my opinion, is that they're 90% water. So they will, when you cook them out, they are willing to soak up basically anything that you give them. So you can marinate them and make them taste however you want. They don't have to taste like dirt. Raw mushrooms, not my favorite, but that's not how we do in my FoodWhat. So we're gonna add some mushrooms to the mix and go ahead and give them a try. There's a lot of mushrooms out there. Find your mushroom. All right, so we'll start with the eggs because it's not a breakfast without eggs. All right, I love cracking eggs. All right. So we got our eggs. Next thing we want to do is whisk them all up, get them the same texture. Now, if you want to, you can do this with a fork, or you can use one of these. Now, one of the reasons I love to cook is because I get to play with cooking toys all day. Check this out. Woo! And you're gonna whisk it until everything pretty much looks the same. You don't want any dark yellow parts. You want everything to be kind of like this light yellowish, goldish color. Beautiful. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. Boom. And let that sit while we get our veggies going. Y'all know how we like to do veggies at FoodWhat. Get your pan warm, get your oil hot, throw the onions in, saute it up. And what do we wait for? What signs are we looking for in the onions? That's right, translucence. Say it with me now. Translucence. Add the rest of the friends. Wow, those bell peppers make it pretty bright. It's like a party. Beautiful. Alright, now for this next part, I cannot stress enough how important it is to find the right heat for your pan. Because you don't want things to stick. It's really just about you knowing your stovetop. Different flame, like some people just have different settings that they could put it on, or the flame doesn't come out evenly, so you got to rotate the pan all the time. So just keep that in mind. It's a really important piece to this. If you mess up, that's okay. Scrape it off, clean it out, and do it again. Now, I will say I recommend using a saucepan, something that's non-stick. Cast irons normally don't stick either, but saucepans are specifically designed to keep things from sticking. Now, the heat that I have it on is like medium low. I'm always gonna start low before I start high. I guess that's one tip I can definitely offer, is start on the cooler side rather than the too hot side, that we don't burn anything. And what we're using this time instead of oil is butter. Butter, baby. And a good amount too. Try to evenly coat the pan, so that way there's butter on every surface, even a little bit up on the edges. You know what I mean? Just keep those little bubbles up on the edges, that way it doesn't stick anywhere. Move it around, spread it out. And this is kind of a good heat level. Like the butter is bubbling, but it's not burning. It's not turning brown. So we're gonna get our egg mix and pour in just enough to cover the bottom of the pan, and to get it, we want it about like a centimeter thick, 1.5 centimeters. Let's see. All right, so there it is. Time to add our herbs, just like that. All right, so as it's cooking, some good signs to look out for is it sticking to the pan, or does it move as one piece? It looks like it's moving like one piece, you know what I mean? So that's a good sign. That means the bottom is getting cooked, it's not sticking. Feel free to even peek at the bottom. Is it looking golden brown? Yeah, maybe. And we'll see if we can get all this stuff on the top to cook. This is a little bit of egg yolk, a little bit of butter that's kind of in here. This might be a sign that we put a little bit too much eggs in there, because the thickness looks right, but this is going to take a minute to cook all the way through. So you want to make sure it's pretty much cooked all the way through before we add our veggies to the mix. Alright, I kind of got tired of waiting because I'm worried it's going to burn on the bottom. So I'm going to spin that over to the edges and just cook it. Ooh, that's close. Ooh, don't spill it. See that? See, if you get on the edges, then it'll cook a little bit better. See what I mean? And now, millet. Now let's add our veggies. So we put the veggies on 1/2 of the omelet, and that's because we're gonna fold the other side over. But before we do that, we gotta add our cheese. And I'm a cheese guy, so I'm gonna add a good amount. This is gonna melt anyways. Beautiful. Some people really like to add meat to their omelet. Honestly, I do too. I'm a big fan of ham. Also, ground beef is really good, or some chorizo or something like that. I had some meat ready, and it was in the freezer, and I forgot to take it out last night. So, yeah. Okay, now let's flip it. Let's see how we did. Oh, this is the hard part. This is so hard to do with one hand. I really don't want it to break. Alright, but that is a beautiful color. It didn't burn or anything. Look at that. Alright, so now that it's folded in half, I'm just going to let it sit here for a second while this warm half sits on top of the cheese and starts to melt it. You know what I mean? If you're really good, then you can get this perfectly folded in half and even sealed up. Like seal it up with the cheese, you know what I mean? If it's cooked on this side like that, then you know the other side is gonna be good too. And our cheese is pretty much melted. You can see right there, it's all the way melted. Here it's partly melted, but it's all good, it's still cheese. Now, the hard part is doing this, taking it from the pan with one hand and putting it onto the plate. See if I got those skills. Okay. Alright. I think I need 2 hands. Here we go. Easy money. Okay. Just gonna make the second one too, since we got a little bit of eggs left over. Almost forgot. On this one, let's add some spinach. Just a little bed of spinach. Look, y'all. Spinach is one of those things, I mean, it just tastes like water. Just throw it in wherever you can. I'll literally just take a handful sometimes. Just eat a handful of raw spinach. And it doesn't taste like anything to me. That's just me, though. And I know it's good for me, so I'm gonna, like, eat it. You know? May as well. Little bit of spinach. Then we could add our veggies to this one. But for the veggies, I'm only going to do it to half. Folding the spinach over will be pretty easy. But folding over big old chunks like this might be a little tough. Boom, we got our veggies in there. Get this super cheesy. Alright, it's moving. That's a good sign. Is it burning though? Woo! Oh, it's not burning, but it's breaking. Oh no! Alright, y'all ready for number 2? Here we go. Haha. Voila. We have 2 omelets. We got some roasted potatoes, a little flower petal piles, some avocados, and a little bit of fresh citrus. Now, I know it's a busy plate. But that's a good thing. Because look how many colors we got in there. I'm not saying getting in the routine of eating this much for breakfast every day and going through the whole process every single morning. What I'm trying to show is that this is actually going to keep me good for 2 days. 2 days worth of breakfast. I got an omelet for each day and enough potatoes that I roasted beforehand to always add it to the side. And plenty of citrus because it's in season right now. But that's kind of the point, is that if you get in the routine of making more food than you can actually eat in one sitting, then you get into the routine of saving your leftovers so you can eat later. And if you have meals that you can eat later, then what you just did was meal plan. So I can't stress enough how much of a difference it made for my life to start meal planning. And it was easy, just make more food than I thought I would eat in one sitting. And then I could save this for later. Same thing with the potatoes. Just roasted a massive tray of potatoes, and then I got some potatoes that I can eat whenever I want as a little snack. And it fills me up, and it's good for me. So as far as routines go, make lots of food, save it for later, always have a meal on deck. Always have a meal on deck. And especially take your time to prepare your breakfast, because that's usually the hardest one to get going in the morning. And if you're one of those people that's like, I don't eat in the morning, I don't really like breakfast, whatever, I'm intermittent fasting, whatever it might be, just have something ready for when you do get hungry, because a lot of the time that hunger will hit you like a train in the middle of the day, and you don't want to crash. There it is, y'all. One more week of eating our rainbow. We made some omelets today. Thank you for cooking with FoodWhat. My name is David. So tune in next week, and we will see y'all later. Enjoy your omelet.